Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're looking at The Once and Future Witches by Alix Harrow. It's a wonderfully cool day today, and so I'm starting to think about my favorite books and ingredients for the fall. One of those happens to be Harrow's novel, and the drink that we'll be making today that's been inspired by the novel. It's set in New England, it's full of witches, it was released in the fall, and so just everything about this book says fall to me. And we wanted to have a drink that would match that aesthetic. One of my favorite things about this book, historic fantasy related to witchcraft and women's suffrage and the Lost Isle of Avalon from Arthurian legend, is the relationship between the three principal characters, the three Eastwood sisters. So today's drink, the Three Sisters, has an ingredient inspired by each of the Eastwoods. We'll start with the first here for our middle sister, Agnes Amaranth. We've got 3/4 of an ounce of apple brandy. This is from one of my favorite distilleries from back home. Get actually 3/4 in there. Favorite distilleries back home in Kentucky. Copper and Kings, doing small batched brandies, absinthe, gin, some really interesting spirits. So we've got their apple brandy in there, 3/4 of an ounce. For our youngest sister, James Juniper, we have the appropriately named Moons of Juniper gin. It's a nice piney gin, very juniper forward, but because you're using a grape distillate, a fruit base for it, it still tastes very balanced without being overwhelmingly herbal. And we're going to get another 3/4 of an ounce of that in there. So now we've got our two principal spirits for the drink, and we'll turn to our oldest sister, Beatrice Belladonna, who is represented here by the astute and scholarly Destillare Orange Curacao, an alembic potation, according to the makers, appropriate to, I think, the most scholarly of the three sisters. And we're just going to get a 1/2 ounce of that in there because it is functioning as part of our sweetener for the drink rather than the primary spirit the way that the other two are. Good. So we've got those in there, and we'll finish out our sweetener here with a 1/4 ounce of honey syrup. Honey is a very assertive ingredient, so it's one that you'll sometimes want to use sparingly. And we'll get that down in there. Wonderful. And then, to balance things out, have one of our perennial favorites, that freshly squeezed lemon juice. Just bringing a bit of brightness, bringing it all together, and we're going to get, again, 3/4 of an ounce of that in there. Wonderful. So, now we've got all of our ingredients in our shaker. We'll add our ice, always adding our ice last, because that's immediately diluting and cooking our cocktail. Wonderful. Wonderful. And then we'll cap it with our big tin and shake that up. Haha, nice and frothy. So we'll get that open. There we are. And we'll get our hawthorn strainer. Because I want this to be extra silky and smooth, I am going to be using a fine mesh strainer as well, doing what's called a double strain, and getting every last ice chip out of my glass. So get that down in there. Today we're using a coupe, as you'll see in just a moment. Wonderful. And there you have it, The Three Sisters. A drink for the Once and Future Witches by Alix Harrow. Wonderful book for the fall. Check it out. Remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, cheers.